We are just back from Hungary. It was a very eventful weekend. I got another podium. Kevin had his worst weekend in years. You wrote on Instagram. You had a really tough one. Like everything went wrong that could. We're gonna break it all down. We're gonna go through what happened in the final, but let's start at the beginning. Let's start where let's start with the tough part. Why did you have a bad weekend, Kevin?
Well, yeah, really tough weekend. And it started okay on practice. First session we were good. We were like 2/10 off quickest. Knew where to improve myself, and then from that point forward, we were never like it was always a second or half a second to be competitive, and got drawn on the outside for Q1. And didn't get the best run there, and then got held up in the end of the race. So really was started. I got 7th in the first quali. Was on the outside again. Got spun around by Clara in the second heat.
Should we look at that?
Yeah, because it's that really it was on the way to be quite a good recovery. So it was like first quali bad, sure happens. But the second one was like, okay, I can actually get in here to have a good comeback, and have a good second heat, and then you kind of get back into a good spiral. But just that didn't happen.
Yeah, here we go. So Clara has already jokered, and they were very fast. The CE dealer cars. You're chasing Patrick
and
here.
Here is also one of the issues. I got a call on the radio saying joker because we can cover off Clara, but what they didn't say was joker don't follow, to make sure we didn't follow Patrick. And yourself,
you see, it's lap
if
3.
you get a call joker, you joker, because you never know what's happening behind in the race, so you trust. So that was and like I make mistakes on track, and everyone can make mistakes. So that was a mistake from my spotter, to should have called joker don't follow. He didn't think I was being held up by Patrick that much, but obviously when you have someone there, a bit of dust, it was frustrating. So that was the first problem here, but now we can play.
The Joker predictor is saying that Patrick has 1.3 to Clara, and then you're 0.5 behind Patrick. So the Joker predictor here thought that you would get it. You actually lost, what is it then, 3.4 seconds to Clara, which is more than normal. I don't know if she did a very good normal lap or you did a mistake in the Joker. But
here we didn't have any pace in the Joker either all weekend, really. It was always, off, and I was on the limit, fighting my teeth coming through it on the brakes and everything, but just no chance. I don't know what it was, but you can play it, and we can show for everyone on YouTube to see.
He's fine, and his mum said he's 21. And
coming in here through the Joker for everyone on social and on Spotify, on the brakes.
I think you make a clean Joker, but she's just gaining.
See how much place I give there, and then so it's like
actually I think this should have been a penalty. I don't want to complain about everyone. That's what everyone says in all the comments all the time. But I don't want to complain. But the race director had a whole slide in the driver's presentation talking about this exact moment and talking about how the driver from the normal line had to keep the inside and the Joker lap need to keep the outside. No one can kind of cross into the other's line when it's a close merge like this. But she's actually kind of far off of the racing line here.
And the main point is, look where I am. I am completely off the racing line, giving that space, but now she's fully in, let's say.
But they didn't give her a penalty.
Line. They gave her a reprimand. The first they didn't give her a penalty, and then we went and said, "Hello, you said on the driver's briefing this was completely not allowed," and then they re-raised it, gave it to the stewards, and the stewards decided it was a reprimand. So there was a penalty, but it didn't change her weekend at all.
It's like a nothing penalty.
Yeah,
so
it didn't change her weekend. It didn't help anything for myself. So it was literally just a slap on the fingers kind of thing.
So the thing is that we don't make the rules. We just have to follow the rules. And maybe knowing this that you know now, maybe you would have been more aggressive, going in and cutting her off. But the stewards were very kind this weekend. Let me stop sharing.
They gave very few penalties, and that's just it goes. We're going to speak about a different situation later on, but as we have different stewards every weekend, you never know really what people think are the limit or not, because rallycross stewards, it's like in football, it's a judgment of what you think the limit is. It doesn't state clearly about every incident in the whole world that can happen. So you never really know which stewards, are going to decide which way, and what the driver advisor, things from his or her experience in their racing career. So it's always you never know. You have to enter the weekend, and if there start to be incidents, you have to understand then what the limits are from that stewards that weekend. So it's a tricky point there to, as from a driver perspective, knowing exactly what's allowed and not, and how much penalty you will get.
Yeah, they didn't give almost any penalties this weekend, so the jury that was there this time was kind of leaning towards aggressive, hard racing. Pushing is kind of allowed, probably more than the average. But you will never get a perfect average throughout a season when it's different people. It's a judgment of a human being, and we all look at the same situation from infinitely many angles. And this weekend they were just very, very kind.
And
I think we
also,
can.
not to just point in there, if you actually think about the action from the weekend, it was extremely few overtakes and maneuvers. So actually, there wasn't many points to judge on, and there wasn't that much carnage in turn one that we have seen in the past. So I don't think it wasn't really a overtaking weekend, because that's where all the penalties always are. If you overtake and there's contact, and no. So
Usually
it
you
wasn't
get
many if you look back. So maybe that
Yeah.
was the reason. Also, it was not much to judge.
Usually you get a penalty when you overtake. Like, more times than not, an overtake is penalized. And if you haven't overtaken, that's rarely a penalty. So you can be dirty as long as you don't overtake the guy, and we'll get to that situation. So now let's skip forward. Let's go to Q4. Another bad race for you, Kevin.
We
You
didn't
really
have to
lost
speak
out.
about Q3 because it wasn't any better. So we can go to
No.
Q4, where we were actually for the first time in the weekend together on track, which was, we had a full plan for what to do, and we're going to show you that now.
Yeah, we had the plan to
Lag at the start.
get, if we got the start side by side into turn 2, we would back the field up, and we would come out turn in P1
really
and
good
P2.
start from
But
both of
look at
us here.
Patrick here. He has a different plan, and he knows that we will team drive, so he says,
Timmy inside,
don't.
Kevin staying out
Here.
wide. He's going to get around the outside. Patrick goes on about the inside of
This
both of
move.
them.
And
Yeah.
we'll watch it again. And again, I'm not coming from the perspective of complaining about everything else, that we were perfect and everyone was not. I'm coming in the perspective just like it's interesting to understand the steward's point of view. So what's happening here is that me and Kevin, in this situation, we have the exact scenario that we spoke about, where Kevin would have the outside for turn 2, I would kind of back the field up on the inside, and then we can slot out 1 and 2. But what Patrick decides to do, and this is in the gray area where the stewards really have to act, he decides to push me from behind, running us both wide. But that means that you, further outside, run really wide.
Yeah.
Look at this. You run super wide, get a bad exit. I try and run Patrick wide into turn 3, but he still stays ahead of you. And here, this just sums up your weekend, doesn't it, Kevin?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and the point there is that in the regulation, it's not allowed to push and pass. So pushing someone and gaining an advantage is not allowed. And the thing here, which is interesting, is that Patrick pushes you, but he doesn't pass you, but he passes me, who is also in front. But technically, it's like and this is, like you said, this is where the stewards has to decide what is right
and they did decide.
wrong.
They did decide that this is legal, because Patrick pushed me and didn't overtake me, even though he pushed someone and someone got, a disadvantage from it, from his pushing. But I was actually surprised by this. I thought, like, this is not the way we should race. I don't think we should push each other from behind. But obviously the stewards said that's okay. So again, we don't make the rules. We just have to follow them and race, taking
And it's
advantage
about,
of the
again,
rules.
it's about discovering what, in this situation again, what each weekend stewards hold as the
Yeah.
limit. So you have to discover that again. And this is one, I think, where we don't know if that's a loophole in the regulation. You can always push people off on the outside as long as you don't pass the one you push, or if it's actually just that stewards decided that that's okay, and the next time it's not okay. So
Yeah.
this is
But this
it's very
incident
confusing.
This incident is very important for you to remember, because I was surprised by their decision, but I knew that now that's legal. So I will take advantage of this situation a bit later on. I will, but just hold on to the thought.
You could also say that you are used to pause the episode. You could also say that you are took advantage of it, so it's not you. But I guess
I
it
want to
doesn't
say,
matter.
me. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was Q4. Where did we end up? I actually ended up losing out on pace to Patrick in that race.
He
He
put some new
jokered.
tires on the front,
Yeah.
which we didn't. So he got some really good performance out of that, and actually took us on pace that race.
Yeah, and we were saving all our rubber to the semi and the final, where you actually get the points. But at some part of the weekend, you have to kind of pay the price where you have old tires. And for us, it was in Q4. Patrick played his card. He made full use of those new tires and passed me on with the Joker strategy and got ahead of me in the intermediate classification. So I also ended badly in the intermediate. I ended 5th, and you ended 7th, and this was trouble because the winner was Johan Kristoffersson. He dominated this weekend again. Hat off, fantastic drive. He dominated. Third was OC Veiby, who's also been the second quickest, but he ended third in the intermediate standings. Then I was 5th and you were 7th, meaning that us four will be in the same semifinal, and you and I will be against the two fastest cars for
and
that
on
weekend.
record, we have been a second off pace. We're like, what are we gonna do? This
Yeah.
is a nightmare. It's the worst outcome we could have, ended up in. And Patrick did jump you in the intermediate of the Q4 just by putting those new tires on and getting that advantage. So we ended up, together, and that was tricky. In that
if I would have been able to hold off Patrick, on my pace, then we would have been in different semifinals. So this was actually a key part of that weekend. But he did a great drive. After this first corner bit of carnage, he just put in a very solid run without any mistakes, drove super fast, and once I jokered in the last lap, he was ahead. It was as simple as that. He was just better in that race. So it would have been good for us if I was actually that one step ahead, because it would have put us in opposite semis.
Yeah.
Now, we had very long talks of strategy before the semifinal. Like how can we get both cars into the final? So it's a 4-car race, the semifinal. 3 make it through to the final. So we're guaranteed that one of us will be through. But how do we get both cars in? And it's a near impossible task because we've been a second off of the pace. We are starting from the back row. They can team drive. Of course, we can team drive, but what do you do from the back row? Like nothing. So my only hope was to dive into the inside of OC in the first corner. That ends up going a bit wrong. Let's watch it. All right, so here you see the lineup. Johan Kristoffersson, OC Veiby, me, Kevin, in that order. And because I have the inside, the best way for us or the only chance we have, is to get ahead of OC in the first corner. Johan is kind of locked in on the pole, but OC is Veiby.
OC is Veiby.
OC is Veiby, but OC is exposed because he has the outside. So if I can get my nose in the first corner, there's a good chance you can follow that overtake. And then we have at least something to play with. We have something to try with the Joker strategy and being really clever. But me trying to dive up the inside in the first corner nearly ended with me crashing. Look this.
Sun glinting off the screens. No noise from these guys. All electric. The IC cars will be in the second semi. Here we go. Who gets a great launch? Very even indeed. The KMS car shut the door on Timmy Hansen. Oh, Timmy rides up the back of OC Baby. In and Baby gets pushed out wide. Timmy gets into his door again.
And then it's night.
The outside line that can't get the...
And then
So
it's bye.
you see our plan there. You see what I wanted to do, but that's the problem with the plan, that you're not like fully in the moment. You're racing with some kind of picture in your head where you should be, and honestly, there was no gap. So I had no right to dive into here.
The problem is that you're a bit too much far to the right here, and that means when he brakes, you hit his rear wheel.
Yeah,
and that's when you, let's say, crash. But it's so difficult to follow when you're on someone's bumper, and it's such an equal start. So
I should have been a bit more left, and that way, because that way I wouldn't have clipped his rear wheel with my front wheel, and that actually pitched the car up, which felt like an eternity. I was just watching the sky. Of course, here on the replay it goes really fast, and I was just watching the sky thinking, next up is the wall, and it's gonna be hard. But somehow I landed, it threw the steering wheel out my hands, but somehow I landed in the right direction, grabbed the wheel again, and could keep going. Let's watch it one more time. You see also your point of view. You're fully ready for that undercut, getting underneath.
Yeah. Hoping that you guys will stretch each other going wide, and I can just pop by the inside, and we could maybe exit, second and third, and have a really good situation to manage the race. But it didn't happen.
But they played their cards perfectly, and there was no gap, so there was nothing we could do.
The Hansen teamwork doesn't always end up work.
The back of OC Baby into the side
of
it. Baby gets
stay on the inside.
Timmy gets into his door again, shedding paddles.
And what am I doing here then? I tried to I thought everyone would stop on the inside so I can go around, and then it was just full of dust. I was like, that would look awful on TV, I thought, and it does.
It does, it does look awful. Then you and I kind of ended up having a race on pace. Whoever of us could make it through. Of course, you jokered on lap 1. I was ahead. I pushed like there was no tomorrow. It felt like I was risking my life in every turn.
Like you said during the weekend, you really enjoyed following and chasing, and you felt like you got more performance. I was on my own 3 seconds ahead. I saw you guys, and I just had to try my best with my own pace. But like this was the last race of my weekend, because I didn't have the pace to beat Timmy in this race. So I basically all the weekend we went from softest springs to hardest. We changed roll bars to softest to off. We changed everything in the whole world on the car, and nothing worked. It's just nothing. It was no performance. Didn't even change the character of the car, and we literally turned everything we can upside down to try and get something. Changed damper, complete damper sets and everything, but just couldn't get anything. And then that's just the nail in the coffin, that semi-final, not being able to have the pace to go through when you had a good position with, let's say, a little bit of clean air. Really tough. But in the end you qualified for the final.
And I set my car up. I like a car that has a bit more front than you. You love a car that's understeering. I can handle a bit more front, and like I set my car up to be very, very nervous this race. Like that was how I found the most pace that I could get this weekend. And you hate that. You love when the rear is really glued. You have full grip in the rear. You can attack into the corners. But for some reason, that didn't work around this track, what we usually do. And the setup that you prefer, I think, wasn't the fastest around this track. And I think that's also part of why I felt like I was risking so much through the semi and the final, because I had such a nervous car and kind of unpredictable. But it worked out for these couple laps in the semi, and it ended up working out in the final as well. But let's move on into the main race. So this is the final of World RX of Hungary. Not a great position for us. Only one of our cars in the final. That was me in P5 at the back. And here my plan was of that that of Patrick O'Donovan in Q4. So remember everything we spoke about there with pushing the car ahead, and then as long as you don't overtake the car you push, that's not a penalty. That's what they ruled in Patrick's favor earlier. But coming into turn 2, I know I have to push the bunch in front of me, and I knew that would run them wide, and I knew then it would put that person on the outside, if there was anyone, in big trouble. And that was my plan. Bit dirty, not the way you should race, if you ask me. But again,
not the way
I
we
don't make
think we
the
should
rules.
race. Yeah,
I don't make the rules. I just have to follow them. So yeah, I hate pushing from behind. But they said it was legal for this event, so that's what I did. Let's watch it.
Launch sequence in the Hyundai. There it is. The echoing anti-lag. Can he get round the outside? We know the electric cars are good off the line. It's a great start on the front row. Very even indeed between Gronholm. Anderson looks to back in, and OC Baby's up the inside here.
I was very kind there too.
Says he got through. OC
Here.
Baby gets past Gronholm.
I decided to
comes.
push OC, so he goes wide. Jua ends up pushing me as well, and there's just a train of cars on the inside.
Yeah.
And that
This
sucks
is
for Gronholm.
Yeah, it sucks. Oh, it's really not nice for him.
No, and like I hate pushing from behind. I am a very aggressive fighter, but usually it's side to side. And of course, I've stepped over the line a lot of times, and I am always aggressive. But I hate pushing from the behind. But now, because they said it was legal in Patrick's case, I of course just have to play by the rules that exist.
Yeah, exactly.
And I pushed OC. I didn't overtake Ole Christian. But in my mind, that it was never about Ole Christian. It was about Niklas on the outside, because I knew he would have a hard time, and maybe I could pass him, and that worked out. So
Yeah.
like, I don't think that's fair what I did. I think that's a push and pass. But yeah, the stewards didn't see it that way, and Juha took advantage of the same kind of
he
situation.
pushed you even harder, and
Can I
both
help
the
me?
CE dealer team cars were pushed to the back, and then I think it wasn't much more happening in this final day. Both the CE cars jokered first lap together, which was weird, and Juha Ryskanen did the next lap, and then you guys in the front had enough pace when you took so much risk to try and follow with your pointy front end car. You managed to build a good gap, so you got out in third, and then you started to just bring it safe, and then we lost so much performance on that.
Yeah, like
and
it
when
felt
you
like
started to reduce the risk to the VWs.
Yeah, felt like I had to risk everything, and despite like putting in one of those runs that sometimes gives you the win, you're all in and everywhere. I was putting in one of those, it felt like that, but still I was losing 10th by 10th. I was not too far off of Baby, but he was faster. And once he came out ahead of me after the Joker strategies played out, I backed off the pace a bit, but I had P3, and it was another podium.
3 in a row, which is your strongest start, I think, in quite a while in the
maybe ever. I don't think
championship.
I've ever had 3 straight podiums.
No, we
start of a
got
season.
three straight, 2 straight, or 3 straight 1-2s in 2021 or something.
Yeah, but
That was
not
better.
race 1, 2, 3, because in 2019 there was that massive crash with me and Andreas in round 1, so I wasn't on the podium.
No, but in 2021
21, yeah.
21 is when we kind of
Maybe.
got the double podiums and stuff. But I'm not sure it was 3 in a row. So it's a very good start to the season. Well, you got half the podiums of the year now. So it's
I mean, results-wise, it's been a great start to the year for me. I don't think we really had the pace or the performance, but we've been at the right place at the right time, done the right moves, but also been lucky with the right kind of gaps and the right situations opening up. So yeah, I'm third in the championship. I am 10 points off of Niklas, who dropped to P2 now. Of course, Johan is going to run away with the championship from here.
Unless someone
Baby is
sorts him
chasing
out.
me.
Someone has to come in and sort him out.
Yeah,
like Robin Larsen did to you in 2019. But
yeah,
he failed.
let's call a friend to take care of Johan. No.
No.
I mean, he deserves it. He has been
so far, but we're only halfway. We're only halfway. He wasn't challenging too much in Portugal. He's really good in Sweden, really good in Hungary also. Last year, next time is a new track, so let's see what that can bring. But let's not give up that fight just yet.
No, we are fighters, and we like it feels like we've been a bit outdeveloped by both Audi, and even though KMS was always ahead, they feel a bit even further ahead this year. Because we haven't been able to test before this season and so on, we haven't been able to take any big steps forward, and we're kind of paying for that lap by a tenth or two, and those really add up in a weekend. I couldn't, of course, go a whole weekend without visiting the stewards anyway. I had to go and see them in the stewards room because after the final, I said maybe something that you shouldn't be saying. This whole story about swearing. International TV, I said words that you should not say. I ended up getting an official warning. Not the 2,000 euro fine.
On the podcast previously. It's one of our most viewed, I think, episodes, and about swearing and the rules from the FA about this. It's been discussed in Formula 1 and WRC. Oliver Solberg got a 2,000 euro fine for saying the F word in the press conference, and you were brought to the stewards as well.
Yeah. And if you want to find out why, I got an official warning because it was the rule is in a controlled environment, you can't say any swear words. But if it's a not controlled environment, you will get away with stuff. That's what they agreed in WRC, the Drivers' Federation, and the FIA. So for them, it's when they put the microphone into the car. I'm like 5 minutes out of the car. There's a gray area, but they decided to give me a pass this time and give me official warning. I'm not able to say this again. And I understand that. So here we go. What did I say that you should not say? I don't think I would choose these words again. Every corner. And
can I ask you one thing? How cool is this track here in Nieride when you're pushing maximum to the limits?
It's freaking scary. I've been shitting my pants, through this race. No, but that's everything. Absolutely.
Sorry, the language there.
Oops.
Andreas Backward correcting you on language. I love it.
Yeah, so that's what I said. That's what you should not be saying, and I've had to apologize.
And maybe if we are not allowed to put that on all the other channels now, he was pooping himself, if we say it in a more correct word.
I was doing number 2 while driving into my pants. If that's a more correct. I don't think I would say this like if I redid the interview. I don't know why that came out my mouth even. But as the steward said also, it's like Andreas and me were kind of friends, and he was making a funny question, and I was. It's like a bit of chat between friends, and the steward said that it won't be a penalty because it wasn't directed at anyone. It wasn't such a bad word, but it's not okay to say it again. If I would say this again. 2,000 euros.
It's such a cultural thing also because, for example, in the UK, that word is known as that's a curse word, no question. But
really?
in like the stewards countries maybe, or for us in Sweden, like that is not. It's like a feeling of such a bad word. So it's also it's really tricky to know which words are really bad and not for other people.
Yeah, in Swedish the translation skit is just means very bad. I think that's the best way to translate it.
Yeah.
That for us it's not a curse word, and of course I know not to say the F word or anything like that. But in Swedish, direct translation is not a curse word. It just means very bad. But yeah, I cannot say that again. I will not say that again. I apologize.
Swearing,
and I did wrong
because it cost a fortune.
Yeah, I can't afford that. Can't afford to say that.
We can't afford it at this moment.
No.
But yeah, it was a tough weekend. But still, in the end of the day, if you get a podium in the final, you get good points. So you did, and that's what counts. So we have to learn from it. Next up is a brand new track in Finland, which is going to be really cool. They've only done one Rally X race there. So it's called Kymi. It was supposed to be the home of MotoGP in the Nordics. They haven't raced MotoGP there, but they're going to race rallycross. Really cool track, really quick, a lot of loose gravel. And speaking of the Nordics, I think we need to mention a big shout out to Oliver Solberg for bringing the first Swedish WRC win back to Sweden in 28 years. So well done. Incredible job. It's also, I've seen Oliver since he was a little kid, so have you. He's been running around a paddock chasing me many times when we were younger, playing games and stuff. So to see him achieve a dream of his, I think is, especially, it takes such a long time to be good in rallying. So I can understand his relief when he achieved that. So awesome
and
to see that.
He's gone through, like, he went to WRC, then it was tough times for him. He had to go back to WRC 2. And now, he gets his break again and he wins the rally. And I just loved seeing how happy he was, how genuinely happy he was. And Pernilla and Petter, like Petter in tears, like it gives me goosebumps, because like those moments are so rare, and that pure emotion, pure happiness, that's what sport's about.
Yeah, and that's why everything has gone viral too, because he's genuinely so happy. Not like I don't know, Mark Marquez is happy, but it's not, he's not ecstatic because he's won so many times. The same with Johan. It becomes normal for people. So then they're not so excited anymore. And when you see someone so excited and achieve something they've been working so hard for, it's great to see them really let go and enjoy the moment.
And getting your first win in the top class, what a breakthrough that is. It's like a lifelong dream coming true. And to give it, for Oliver to be able to do it after everything he's been through, but always being a very talented driver, now getting the chance again, grabbing it with both hands, and winning in the World Rally Championship, where it takes such a long time to build up that experience with the pace notes and everything. I mean, massively impressive, and I love to see that reaction.
Yeah,
from them.
Awesome job by him.
Yeah. Thank you for listening this week, guys. That was the post-Hungary episode. Next week, we'll come back with more interesting topics to talk about. See you on Thursday.
And we have a lot of exciting guests also coming in the next couple of weeks. So don't forget to like and subscribe and put that bell on Instagram or on YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing. And we'll catch you guys next week.